Good morning. I'm Bill Zortman, and welcome to the Report Card Show, the show that each month brings together those that lead the Real Estate Association, the Home Builders Association, and with the financial side of buying and selling, we might as well have somebody that understands and works with 42 lending institutions. Tony Bachman always starts, but I need to kind of explain Tony. You know, he isn't the leader of the associations, but one of the things that Tony does, he gets my numbers on a Friday, and then he looks at a whole different set of numbers that help the Real Estate Association, the home builders, Butch, and he comes in and he tells me, Bill, I have found this, and over the weekend we had this happen. Do you have that story today?
Well, I have a number of stories, but I'll try and keep it short since I know our segment's tight, show. But, so to that point, when you say that, what kind of do the leadoff here is, I just think that no matter who, when you're talking about buyer or seller, this is all about information. And the more information people have, the easier it is for them to make a decision that makes sense. But so that's what we do. We just try to translate some of these numbers because after a while you start looking at, pages and pages, which I typically bring. But so this weekend, you and I talked a little bit this morning, and I just said that we were very busy this weekend as a team. We had 3 listings. We were going to have 3 open houses. One of them didn't make it to the open house because it went under contract within about an hour of it going live.
An hour?
Yeah. It was just one of those houses that
you can't use a newspaper if it's only an hour. You're going to have to be online quickly.
It was quick, yeah. So, and then we had 2 other open houses where they will be going under contract. They were busy, a lot of activity. And obviously, this nice weather, when we're talking about having 60s and possibly 70 tomorrow, it just gets people's juices flowing. And then, a couple weeks ago, you had the home show, and I'm sure, I wasn't there for it, but I know that there was probably a lot of activity.
You were talked about.
Oh, well, good. Glad to hear
it. There's a lot of stuff out there, and if we put it into one sentence, it's good news for those that are selling. Those that are buying, they have to look back and say, but it wasn't this way 10 years ago.
No. I mean, 10 years ago, when you start analyzing some of the median price points and that sort of thing, we're talking about roughly about $100,000 less for a median price point, give or take a few thousand. The other thing too is for inventory levels, we're looking at inventory levels that they're talking about right now is 765 homes for an inventory, which is a reflection of active homes, new homes, and then it even encompasses homes that are contingent miscellaneous, meaning that they've got an offer on them, but it's still contingent upon inspections or something like that. So when we talk about actual homes that are active that don't have a contract on, that number actually falls even shorter than the 765. But 10 years ago, we probably would have had, Rick, what do you think, somewhere around 16 to 1,800 homes for people to review. So, that's how much of a difference we're talking about when it comes to the inventory levels right now.
The other thing you shared with me early this morning was that the small communities, we're not seeing the increase in the median points and this and that. A little different today.
Yeah, I think when we were looking at the numbers, I was going through all the smaller communities. And when I start looking at median price points, not only for Sioux Falls, but for the other smaller communities, and I'm not talking about just Brandon or Harrisburg or Hartford. I'm talking about Del Rapids and Madison and Laverne and some of these in Beersford, those sorts of homes communities. The median price points on those have raised quite a bit since in the last 10 years.
What do you think?
They're getting close to Sioux Falls numbers, actually.
I agree. I believe it's just the lack of inventory and the prices going up.
It's a little scary. So what else have you dug up? You got all these scrolls. It looks like a COVID chart that I don't want to look at. But share with me what you've got and where we're going, because we're in March now. We're not far to officially being spring.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see. We've seen a lot of great activity, and I think we're going to see more listings coming out, newer listings. I think the market's trying, and we're having conversations with a lot of people, and I know that Rick's probably having conversations with more people because this is traditionally the time of year where people are like, okay, this is the time we want to get our houses on the market because our kids are going to finish the school year. But so when I looked at the numbers from like January to February, those are all pretty consistent. I mean, like we had new listings of, about 350. Pending sales were about 427. Closed sales were about 245. But all those numbers are greater. I mean, much greater than last year's numbers. So the demand is very high at this point. And the supply being what it is, I mean, we know supply and demand, you're going to have those numbers increase. I mean, the average price point, that sort of thing. I know that we were talking in the hallway just briefly here with Rick, and we were talking about appraisers. We sympathize with whatever the appraisers are having to go through to try to keep up with the market values because, the market values on these have gone up. The plus side that's not so scary for buyers is the fact that we've talked about this in the last few months. Interest rates are still really low and very accommodating for those entry-level buyers.
All right. Explain something to me. And I need to get Mr. Peterson maybe to explain this to me. But, I'll catch him in a weak moment and I'll have him explain it. But when we've got all these people, you got 3 or 4 buyers in an hour buying a house, that ought to push the price higher as far as the appraised price. Am I wrong with that, Rick?
You're not wrong if they're all on the same page.
So how do you get them on the same page?
Well, it's
different today than it was 5-10 years ago.
It is.
Oh, yeah, much different.
It is. But, the buyers all want to try to save that dollar. Sellers want to make that dollar. So basically, when I'm saying get on the same page, I'm saying that buyers are in competition against each other. They don't know how many they are. But so right now what we're seeing, and I don't know in Tony's office or anything, but what I would like to see is that houses, when they go on the market, there's a little waiting time before we accept offers to get the multiple.
How much time
offers.
would you give?
I just put one on Friday and Tuesday. Just 3 or 4 days, just to make sure if someone's out of town or if it's over the weekend that, they're out enjoying this weather. But then they come back and the realtor's calling them, but they're not answering because it's nice out. And then all of a sudden they look at it on Monday, they still have a shot at it. Instead of it going on Friday and it's sold right away. And I've heard over multiple realtors telling me that it's great to sell it, but they had 3 or 4 offers come in after they accepted one, and every one of them's over the list price.
We're about 1 year to the date on COVID-19, and we started hearing the word zooming. Zooming as far as looking at properties.
Yep.
That's far different. But if you got a zoomer versus somebody that's in the house, who gets the house?
It's whoever comes to the table with the best offer. And
so still, if you walk in with more money and the green is out of New York rather than out of Canton, South Dakota,
as a seller, you're ultimately, it's the marketplace, and basically if you get an offer that makes sense. I mean, we had an offer that came in from California. It's a cash offer. They were comfortable with no inspections, and it was over list. When it comes to my sellers, I was like, well, why wouldn't I take this? And I said, I don't know. I don't know why you wouldn't take it, because you just know that once you sign that contract, you're already pending and you're going to closing. But to Rick's point, I think I think we're seeing more and more that in our marketplace, we're more and more agents, and we're doing that with some of our listings too, is that we'll get it on the market and then we'll say, hey, we're going to review offers on Sunday at 3 or 4 o'clock. That does give more people the opportunity to review, take a look, and I think that's good for not only the sellers, but it's good for the buyers, because then the buyers get a chance to at least take a swing at it. And you never know. I mean, if it's the perfect home, you're willing to pay. I mean, if I'm out looking for my home and it's my dream home or a home that makes sense to me, I'm willing to pay a little bit extra if I need to get that home.
All right, 30 seconds. Wrap up your segment.
I think the marketplace is going to continue to do what we're doing right now. I think we as agents and the builders and developers are doing everything they can to try to supplement and take care of this market and take care of people who do want to get out there and buy. We do have a lot of activity coming in from out of state, and you can see it just in the building permits, which I know you're going to talk about here, but we're already double building permits from previous year. So it just means everybody's doing their part. And we as agents are doing everything we can we're up early and up late and work through the day to make sure we're taking care of our clients.
We appreciate Mark Tooley with the Real Estate Association of the Sioux Empire getting these numbers
Absolutely.
out. So we have them this morning. Tony, appreciate you. Get back to work.
All right.
Sell some homes, will
Thank
ya?
you, Bill. Appreciate it.